Today has been a beautiful day, largely in part because of Ben Shapiro. I never thought I'd say that, but nothing gives me more joy than watching Ben Shapiro crash out, maybe aside from Randy Fine and Bill Ackman. Recently, Tucker Carlson hosted Nick Fuentes on his show, and it caused Ben Shapiro to have a major meltdown. This led to Ben Shapiro then posting a 40-minute rant on social media about how horrible of a person Nick Fuentes is. Here's just a short clip of that. Take a listen.
My answer is no. No to the groypers. No to their publicists like Tucker Carlson. No to those who champion them. No to demoralization. No to bigotry and anti-meritocratic horse shit. No to anti-Americanism. No. This is our country. This is our party. And this is our conservative movement. And I will not stand by while it is handed over to those who betray the most fundamental principles I have spent my entire life defending and advocating.
Okay, so let's just stop there for a second. This guy's having a hissy fit because it seems interesting. For once, Zionists aren't in control of the narrative. And this goes on and shows the horrible things Nick Fuentes has said. You really can't defend them. I do not care. I do not care because for once, this Zionist who's just so obsessed with defending Israel and exporting our tax dollars overseas where more Americans can die defending that project in the Middle East, for once, he's on the defense. And genuinely, I'm overjoyed watching every damn second of it. I'm overjoyed watching every damn second of Randy Fine freaking out too. So Tucker Carlson is met with onslaughts of tweets, a lot of them condemnation, a lot of them support, very divisive because of him hosting Nick Fuentes. What I find so interesting about all of this is this dude, Ben Shapiro, is going to go online and lecture us about morality. Nick Fuentes making crazy controversial statements about previous public figures like Hitler. Horrible. But this dude thinks he's better while he goes on social media and supports Netanyahu, while he interviews Netanyahu. There is the moral equivalence between Netanyahu and 1940s Germany. There is no difference. There is no difference. And this dude's going to come on and lecture us about morality and about how Nick Fuentes is a red line for him. But Gaza's not a red line whatsoever. You can go ahead and do what you want in Gaza. But the second Nick Fuentes goes on and says whatever he wants to say, somehow Nick Fuentes is a worse person than Ben Shapiro. They're on equal footing. And this guy's lost. He's just lost the narrative, and they're crashing out. Take a listen to what Tucker Carlson had to say when he was speaking with Dan Smith recently.
People like Seth Dillon or Ben Shapiro, they get a lot out of wearing bulletproof vests and like, oh, I'm so under attack and all this stuff. And it's like, the truth is they are openly pro-violence. How in the world could you justify killing tens of thousands of children or justify a pager attack, which is an act of terrorism where you indiscriminately blowing people's genitals off? You don't know who's holding the pager, and you're celebrating it. What are you celebrating? You're celebrating violence. That's where their foreign policy comes from. That's what their worldview is. It's about the thrill that they feel killing their enemies, the godlike power they imagine they have when they extinguish human life. That's the whole game for them. We don't have a right to kill people. We do not have a right to kill the innocent, period. And that's the dividing line between me and Ben Shapiro.
Here's the thing. The whole narrative has been absolutely broken. You have people like Ben Shapiro coming on thinking they can preach any sort of morality is just honestly ridiculous. It's a complete joke. This guy is nothing but a maniac supporter of murdering millions and millions of Palestinians. If all of Gaza was completely eliminated, he would be overjoyed and he would figure out a way to support it. As we know, he wrote articles back in 2004 and 2005 supporting the war in Iraq. Clearly, I wonder what his motive is. What could Ben Shapiro be happy about a war in Iraq for that murdered thousands of Americans. Could it be because it was taking out Israel's enemy? I wonder. I really, really wonder. And this dude's going to lecture us about morality because Tucker Carlson decided to host Nick Fuentes on? Are you kidding me? There is no difference. He has no sort of morality to come forward and start questioning and saying that this is a hard red line. Dude, be quiet. Shut up. Shut up. Okay, it's absolutely ridiculous, and I'm so glad that nobody on social media is having any second of it, because the guy just looks like it just looks ridiculous. So let's go ahead and read some social media tweets from all of this. Ben Shapiro, when he's not talking about Nick, mind you, he has over 7 million subscribers, and you see he doesn't get that many views in comparison to his subscriber count on social media before. I was recently looking, and Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are skyrocketing in views recently. Ben Shapiro not doing too hot. Let's see here. Most of the replies to Ben Shapiro are negative, and Tucker had Tucker had fewer views and more likes than Shapiro. Do you seriously not understand how social media works? And it just goes on and on and on. And here's the thing, regardless of their view count, I really don't care. The fact is that people are sick of listening to this ridiculous narrative. And it doesn't matter how, it just, the whole thing has been absolutely shattered. You simply just can't support this, or support this. Shapiro literally pays for views. Stop gaslighting. And then again, we see here Twitter impressions. It seems like a lot of people are really just talking about the view count, which is pretty interesting. You must not know how the internet works or something. Shapiro got roasted in his replies. No one likes Ben. Goes on. I would think the majority of those who watched Tucker's interview were incels, were just there to rubberneck the car accident scene. And then, of course, it just goes on talking about views and views and views. So what's really happening is we've reached a point now where young conservatives, especially, there was a New York Times article written recently about how 40% of 40% of individuals on Capitol Hill now identify as, quote, groypers. There's a real reason for that. We're seeing on the left, we're seeing a lot of traditional Democrats now becoming leftists, a large amount now, and they're getting polarized on the left. And we're seeing on the right, a lot of conservatives are becoming groypers. So what we're seeing on both sides of the political aisle is a polarization. And it's there for a reason. It's because people are simply, it doesn't matter which side you're on, there's discontent with the mainstream narrative. And people like Ben Shapiro and Randy Fine want to uphold that narrative that's clearly falling apart. It might be falling apart for different reasons on different sides of the political aisle, but nonetheless, it's falling apart. And these are individuals that are trying to grasp onto the last remaining remnants of it, and it's not working. The propaganda campaign is over. So it's really been joyous watching Ben Shapiro have an utter absolute meltdown. Again, this goes on a 45.
My answer is no. No to the groypers. No to their publicists like Tucker Carlson.
And he goes on and says that the Republican movement can't make room for the groypers. Now, regardless on my views on their stance and what I think of the groypers, that aside, that's where the Republican Party, the younger generation of Republicans under the age of 30, a lot of them identify this way. A lot of Democrats under the age of 30 now identify as leftists. And what the Democrats started to realize when it came to Zohran Mamdani being elected is that you can't ignore a certain faction of your political party. Now, if you don't like the views of that certain faction of the political party, you have to question, and you have to genuinely wonder, why did that faction of my political party splinter? What's causing them to not be happy with the status quo? What are their legitimate concerns that's causing them to go more to the extremes and more to fringier views? It's because there's discontent there. And instead of telling people that they're ridiculous and they're crazy, try to understand what led them to becoming that fringe, because ultimately there is something there. And the more you try to shut these people down and you make them your enemy, you might realize, okay, the reason they're becoming fringe is because of X, Y, and Z. I completely disagree with their political ideology, but these are the things we have to address. Otherwise, people are going to keep going in this direction. And for some reason, they just completely and utterly fail to see that. So it's all ridiculous. Ben Shapiro has no moral ground whatsoever to talk about this sort of thing. I see him no different than everything that he claims he wants to avoid. He wants to not, he wants to completely cancel out. Regardless, that's everything for this video. If you guys want to see more of my content, please click the subscribe button below. I'll go through some of the comments here as well. Let's see. I genuinely believe it's a place in where we can put left versus right on the back burner and unite behind anti-Israel against pro-Israel occupation. I completely agree with that, Cowskin Rug. At this point, I will vote for Thomas Massie as much as I'll vote for a left-leaning candidate that opposes Israel. I have no problem with that. Even if it came down to Marjorie Taylor Greene and a billionaire-backed Democrat that is pro-Israel, I will always vote for Marjorie Taylor Greene over that, because ultimately it's the only thing that will actually lead to real change, which is somebody who comes forward and actually puts their own country above foreign interests and above billionaire-backed donors. So Shapiro is so deluded that he still thinks that he can talk shit about American spending and morality when he's a Zionist. They should just shut up with their cognitive dissonance and blatant racism. Completely agree. So, and then I'll just go through some of the YouTube comments here. Also would really appreciate some super chats, guys. I really appreciate the support. Thanks so much. Who the heck would actually listen to a word from the filthy mouth of Shapiro? If that's not rigged, what is his fault? Subscriber count. So that's everything for this video, guys. Thanks, Hannah, for the support. Excellent vid. Look forward to the next one. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.